I've just watched the Duran video about Prince Andrew. It was something Alexander Mercouris said about why it was important to preserve the monarchy, and I'm saying it's already a dead duck. And he was basically saying that it won't last longer than the life of the current monarch. Because as we can see, the knives are out for Charles and his charities, and we don't know what is going to happen for certain, but what is certain is that the monarchy has been discredited, and the fact that you settle and are still considered guilty is the height of the depth of stupidity. I don't know what it is. I mean, what's the point of paying some retired American prostitute off and then say you're guilty? So it's like, yeah, you have to pay up and admit you're guilty. And this is basically what Andrew has done. How stupid can you be to do that? It's like, well, your money or your life, or your money and your life, and the person says your money and your life, and you say, okay, I'll give you both. It is obviously beyond a joke about the stupidity of the British. What kind of jubilee is worth having with this sort of thing hanging over you, that your son has apparently caved in completely and said, well, I didn't do it, but I'll pay you. And what exactly is going on? What crazy thing is going on? And okay, let's draw a line under that, because we may never know. But the next thing that Alexander Mercouris said about why it is important for Britain to remain a monarchy was frankly ridiculous. He said, if we became a republic like the Americans, then we would be like the Americans. And I was thinking, well, if America already treats Britain as if it were California or Florida, and treats Andrew as guilty of doing something that he had a perfect right to do in the UK, then, well, what's the point of even imagining that there are differences? I mean, it is already clear that Britain is a 51st state, just by the way its people are treated by Americans. That young man who was run over by an American woman driving on the wrong side of the road. She left the country and his parents had to, well, I think they're in America now trying to get some compensation or something. It's obvious the contempt with which the Americans treat the British. And they couldn't have made it clearer with what they've done to Andrew. And the Queen couldn't have made it clearer how much she has submitted to them, and apparently made her son acknowledge his guilt in order to have a jubilee. But what is the point of having a platinum jubilee for an institution now so discredited that it is not expected to continue beyond the life of the present monarch? It makes no sense at all. I can't make any sense out of it, can you? Why would... So I keep putting myself in the position of Andrew, and let's say I did have sex with her in May in 2001. Sorry, it was whatever time it was. I don't know why I said May. And we know that he said that he couldn't have done it on that date because he had an alibi, because he was in the Pizza Express and working on that particular evening. And then I think she must have changed the date or say, oh, well, I didn't mean it was that date, it was another date. But I'm saying that even if he did have sex with her, why pay her so much? Why pay her so much and virtually admit your guilt? It makes no sense. It is crazy and stupid and shameful. So if you did have sex with her, say, yeah, I had sex with her, but I'm not paying her again. So we were aware that his lawyers were going to be vigorously defending him, to the extent of calling for evidence of mental health or finances or something like that. And then suddenly, there was just unexpected caving in. So it sounds like the Queen and other members of the royal family put pressure on Andrew to admit his guilt. But the thing is, even if he did have sex with her, it's not illegal. So why should he have to pay all that money? Unless the Americans are working on the basis that Britain is indeed to be treated like Florida or California, where the age of consent is 18. So whichever way you slice it, it makes no sense. And whichever way you slice it, the monarchy is utterly discredited. If you want to blame Andrew for having sex with a 17-year-old, which isn't a crime, or the Queen for pressuring him into say don't fight it anymore, so I can have a nice little platinum jubilee because it'll be my only platinum jubilee. I really can't begin to make sense of it, except that they must be mad or badly advised. Badly advised is not an adequate word to describe this. No, Evelyn, for you. The whole point of being royalty is that you are treated as royalty. You're not treated like you're not treated as somebody who doesn't even get the protection of the law to have to pay for something that was perfectly legal anyway. So this is really disturbingly crazy, and it comes right from the top. So it is true what they say about the fish. That fish rot from the head, meaning that something went wrong with your morals to start the stench of corruption, dementia, and the breakdown of law and order. breakdown of the rule of law, and well, to the extent that nobody even knows what the law is and why and what Andrew is guilty of, because it's not a crime to have sex with a 17-year-old in the UK. So you see a media gold mine, whatever that means. Well, we know that it is that the fourth estate is now the first estate, and the first estate under the ancien regime would be the church, and the church would be presumed to be guided by God's laws. But the fourth estate, what are they about? Who are they guided by? Nothing but the whims and fancies of atheists and nihilists. And there is no one to take charge of the situation. So again, I ask myself, what should Andrew have done, assuming he did have sex with her? Let's just, Well, if I were him, I would just refuse to accept that I've done anything wrong. And I guess, mum will be upset, but, it's just too bad. You just have to reluctantly accept that the age of monarchy is now come and gone. And, mum's been on the throne for long enough. Too bad she, can't make it to her platinum jubilee. But, what would be the point of getting there? Because if it's not going to be passed on in a sufficiently good condition for Charles to reign on, then what is the point of the monarchy anyway? So if I were Andrew, I would retract the settlement and just refuse. Well, I hope they haven't paid the woman yet. I mean, it's still possible to say, well, I know I said I was going to pay that retired American prostitute, but I've changed my mind now. I don't know her a thing. And what my mother pressured me into doing, well, I've decided not to go along with it. And if this means that the monarchy crashes and burns, well, it would do it either way. But it is a particularly ignominious end, isn't it? And of course, all Britons would feel ashamed. And the only way of getting over this is to become an Islamic Republic. Would you really fight against your own failing? I don't know what you mean by that. Effluent for you. So the best thing that Andrew could do is to, well, retract. I mean, okay, I need to read the thing. The information I got about the situation was from the video that I did put in the description. This is okay. The most recent one is the 16th of February, and Alexander Mercouris says Not only has he got to pay the woman, the ex-prostitute, he can't even deny that he didn't do it. So it's like, what? Why? Why would you do such a thing unless you had a gun held to your head? And if you had a gun held to your head, well, I think, at some stage you'll have to say, well, you'll have to do your worst. I'm just not going to pay you because you don't deserve it. And if you get what you want from me, then it will set a precedent whereby, well, all men will be subject to this kind of treatment. So it is distressing and surprising and shocking and unprecedented, and nobody knows what to think because they have no sense of honour. If they did, they would have known what to do all along. I still don't know what Effluent is trying to say to me. But to sum up, before I go, I think it is a very bad idea for Andrew to agree to settle such an enormous sum of money while not really saying one way or the other whether he did it or not. And the fact that we won't be told exactly what happened will enrage us. And really, the monarchy is over anyway, so you might as well go out with a bang and not a whimper. And it is sad that the British establishment no longer understand these principles of honour. It's very sad.